Ladies and gentlemen, live from Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977 is Wednesday or Saturday, and you know what that means. It's time for AEW Dynamite or Collision Event Center. And now here's the man that will bring you the happenings of AEW All Elite Wrestling action, Mr. Eric M. Lima.
Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans, 1977 episode number 2560 of the show. How's it going? Hope you guys are having a wonderful, blessed day. I hope your day has been blessed, and I hope everything is blessed with you. Well, I hope your day has been blessed. I hope your day has been great. Check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out. That's right. I always wanted to do that. We got to talk about the fallout from All Out. AEW Dynamite. There's a special announcement by Tony Khan. It is a huge deal. Let's get right into it. And Hangman Adam Page addresses the. He decided to have an issue, a world title open challenge, and it was accepted by the Ring of Honor Pure Champion, Men's Pure Champion. As you know, the now Women's Pure title. Going to be a new, going to be crowned soon. Addresses Lee Moriarty, who was accepted that challenge. So we'll see what happens then. Meanwhile, the AEW Tag Team titles on the line as Brodito, that's Brody King, and the Ring of Honor World Champion Bandito to join to defend the titles against the two of the three members of the Demand. That would be the GOA, the Gates of Action, Iona and Bishop Khan. Ricochet decided to join them on commentary, and then when things went south for GOA, he tried to get involved. Aubrey Alberts caught him and said, "You're out of here." He ejects him from the ringside, and Brodito retains the titles. And then Alicia Toot interviewed a conglomeration, and standing was Mark Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong at the Paragon. And then you got Will Nightingale and Hologram. And Alicia Toot Friedman, because she's now married to Maxwell Jacob Friedman, asked him, "Hey, who's your partner?" "Well, I can't tell you that. I can't give you the juicy details, but aren't you glad that I won the match?" And I'm like, he's dropping hints, dude, right? So, and they put on some shades. Well, actually, Hologram and Mark Briscoe threw on some shades. So Hologram and Mark Briscoe and Will Nightingale moved out, while Kyle O'Reilly's always got. Hey, I don't know where my head's been, but thanks a lot. And Roderick Strong has walked out that way. So we'll see what happens there. Then Renee Paquette interviewed the new AEW Women's World Champions Chris Statlander, and the lovely, gorgeous, curvaceous, babylicious Harley Cameron interrupts, being the hype woman for Stat Daddy, as she calls him. I love Harley Cameron. What can I find a woman that is so gorgeous, beautiful, crazy, sexy, totally nuts, and funny at the same time? We haven't seen a woman that hot and do much funny comedy since Jenny McCarthy, for goodness sakes. And Jenny McCarthy follows me on X, aka Twitter. Would you believe that? I can't. Yeah. I can't believe it either. I can't believe it either. Yeah. I can't believe it either. Yeah, I still can't believe it. I can't believe that Jenny McCarthy follows me on X, aka Twitter. Unbelievable. Anyways, so so Chris Statlander says she has her work cut out for her. And she's defending the title against Mina Shirakawa, who was a close personal friend of Tony Storm. So I love Mina, not the way that Tony Storm does, but I aim to keep my titles. And what about the Death Riders? And she goes, well, things go by fast when you make decisions. So we'll see what happens there in that situation. Meanwhile, the AEW World title on the line in an open challenge as Hangman Adam Page defends against Mr. Tiger Style, Lee Moriarty, the Ring of Honor Pure Champion, and an excellent matchup. Hangman Adam Page retains the title. Meanwhile, Renee Paquette wanted to go interview Copeland and Christian Cage, and Adam Copeland said, "Love you, Renee, but not right now." And Renee understood. And then this Christian, I can't do this. It's affecting my family. No, listen, you take care of your family. I don't have a family of my own. Yeah. He extended his hand. They shook hands, and Christian Cage was, you might need some backup against this new family formed by Mother Wayne and Nick Wayne. Looks like Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian will operate as a tag team. Mother Wayne will be the manager. We'll see what happens in that situation. Meanwhile, the guys who caused the problems for Adam Copeland, Tony Schiavone was interviewing FTR and Stokely Hathaway, and they run their mouths saying you shouldn't. And let's just say this: they're not sorry what they did to Beth Copeland. Are you nuts? And Stokely Hathaway, what a liar he is. Stokely Hathaway and the FTR, the Three Stooges, Mo, Larry, and Curly. Although two of them are bald. I mean, Dax can be Larry and Stokely can be Curly, But I digress. But then Willow Nightingale interrupt them and say, you know what, Beth Copeland's an inspiration. So that means Willow Nightingale grew up watching Beth Phoenix kick some butt in the WWE, and she's a Hall of Famer. And you apologize sincerely or get out of the ring. Looks like she's had enough of that. And then FTR, don't hurt Willow Nightingale. I like Willow Nightingale. But Jet Speed comes to back her up. So I say, smart move. Smart move getting Jet Speed. Now, Jet Speed probably respects Copeland, respects the Copeland family, and respects Willow Nightingale. So I'll tell you what, FTR, you ain't worthy of wearing the AEW Tag Team titles until you really apologize for what you did to Beth Copeland, you morons. Mo, Larry, and Curly, the Three Stooges. Woo, 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 woo. Anyways, so MJF addresses his about his match at All Out, and he lost. He says, "I need to be a different MJF. I'm not going to be the same. I'm not going to be the MJF of old, but I'm going to still do things my way." So I don't know what MJF meant by that, but it looks like we're going to see hopefully a more serious side instead of this goofy comedy frat boy attitude of MJF. It's like trying to get serious, and just put in the work, put in the grind, MJF. Don't worry about making fun of people like myself or anybody like that. Just go do your thing and get back to the top like you want to be. And then Don Callis comes out with his Don Callis when he addresses the Pittsburgh crowd as they're getting ready for a trios matchup as Hechicero teams up with the Alpha Konosuke Takeshita and the AEW Unified Champion, the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada, as they take on the conglomeration, which is Mark Briscoe, Hologram, and a mystery partner. He said, I'm going to reveal, so Don Callis goes, I'm going to reveal a new painting. I had to roll it out here. It's so huge. And so the two stagehands got the painting out. Let's reveal what it is. And then it was Orange Cassidy who ripped the thing. Orange Cassidy is back. He goes, kick his butt. He ruined my painting. Rocky Romero tried to go after me. He went right into the picture. It was hilarious. It was a good painting too. And so Mark Briscoe and Hologram came out, and it got the trios matchup. Hechicero, Okada, and Takeshita to face the team of Briscoe, Hologram, and Orange Cassidy. But before the matchup, looks like Klon is going to the evil version of Hologram. Is it coming? Is it going to be? Is it? This is before, after the interview the conglomeration had with Alicia Freeman. Is it an evil? It might be an evil version. So we see Sin Cara 1, Sin Cara 2. I don't know. We'll find out. But they had the trios matchup, and the conglomeration won. But Kyle Fletcher comes out, and he says, "You know what? I'm reminded who the heck I am. I'm going to be the greatest TNT champion of all time." And he decided to issue a challenge to to Hologram, who is 34-0. And he says, I'll put my title on the line, you put your streak on the line. So it's title versus streak. So, are we going to see Hologram's evil twin costume the streak? Make it personal? Who knows? He might show up. Kyle Fletcher, Don Callis probably has aces up their sleeve. So, next week in the 60th anniversary of Dynamite, that match will go down. Then, and then Renee Paquette interviews the lovely, the gorgeous, curvaceous babe, another curvaceous babe, Miss Mina Shirakawa, who says that she has not spoken to Toni Storm since Saturday, and but I will beat Statlander for her, and I will be the Women's World Champion. And she did a little dance. Well, good luck with that. And then she winked at the end. I love Mina Shirakawa. Between Mina Shirakawa and Harley Cameron, they ought to be a tag team because they're fun, they're entertaining, they're beautiful, they're gorgeous. I'd be their man. I would want to be their manager. I would love to be their manager. And if Toni Storm says, "Hey, you do a good job, be my manager too." I'll manage all three ladies. I love them. Anyways, so then you had the Jack Perry Luchasaurus promo, and next week they're back. And I'm telling you, Jurassic Express, I don't think the Young Bucks will regret the day they ever stabbed Jack Perry in the back. And you know what? Luchasaurus with him now. Young Bucks, good luck. You're going to need it. All right. So Powerhouse Hobbs went one-on-one with Claudio Castagnoli, and Pac got involved during the matchup, and then Castagnoli ends up winning. And Samoa Joe was chasing Pac from ringside after the matchup, but then Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia beat up on Hobbs, and Samoa Joe comes back, but then as Pac and Castagnoli get involved, here comes Hangman Adam Page. And Hangman Adam Page, that leads it to a trios matchup coming up next week, I think, as Daniel Garcia will team up with Moxley and Castagnoli to face the team of Hangman Adam Page and the team of Hobbs and Samoa Joe as well. So there's that. Then the Tony Khan's big announcement, ladies and gentlemen. We just found out that the AEW Women's Tag Team Championships will be in play now. That's right. It is official. They're having the AEW Tag Team Championships. We don't know when the tournament will start, which teams are going to perform what. And I sense that now with Toni Storm losing the AEW Women's Championship, why not go after it? The AEW Women's Tag Team title looks a lot like the male tag team titles, but with the difference in the middle name place is Women's Tag Team. So I do believe that, could be Chris Statlander and Harley Cameron maybe going after her. Or, I like Harley Cameron, Will Nightingale. That would be a heck of a deal. You could have Megan Bain and Penelope Ford. 2 of the 3 members of the Triangle of Madness that you can any combination you can pick. More like Heart and Blue could be in on this. Like I said, Mina Shirakawa and Toni Storm. Now that, Toni Storm's lost her AEW Women's title, why not go for that? Lots of possibilities. The women's division. You may have the Renegade Twins when Charlotte comes back from her injury with Robin, and who knows? Queen Aminata could form a team with Will Nightingale, or or Harley Cameron, or anybody. At this rate in time, I like the fact that the AEW Women's Tag Team title is in play. Yes, that's another championship. Too many championships in AEW, but that's how it is. Look at Mercedes Moné. She can collect 9 championships. Why not add more, Who knows for sure. Then it came the main event. Chris Statlander, the AEW Women's World Champion, the newly minted champion, I might add, defends the title against the Ring of Honor Interim Women's Television Champion, the lovely, gorgeous, curvaceous, babylicious Mina Shirakawa. Heck of a matchup. Shirakawa had her beat a couple of times, but Statlander used that pin that she pinned Toni Storm with to win the title. Willie Yuta comes up, but before the matchup, Willie Yuta did come up to whisper something to Statlander. But the Death Riders come out after the match, possibly to celebrate Chris Statlander as a potential new member of them. And then Willie Yuta, who's recruit her, it's like, yay, hugs her, and as John Moxley was staring at Chris Statlander, and poor Harley Cameron, she was scared for her life. Because if Chris Statlander would have joined, that woman, poor Harley, would have needed some help. But then all of a sudden, you saw, Maria Shafir congratulating her, hugging her, and then you got Willa Yuta hugging her, and then he goes, yeah, be happy that you won and all that. And then she goes around, Statlander clotheslines Yuta, and then starts getting into it with the Maria Shafir, but then she decides to escape. Then she went over to Jon Moxley's face, flipped him off, putting the middle fingers right in Moxley's face. She escapes the ring, and then Harley Cameron follows her, and she goes, "Come on, Harley, come on!" And so she flipped them off, and then Darby Allin comes out with a flamethrower. He said, "Jon Moxley, when are you going to learn? I'm not going to quit." So guess what? Wrestle Dream you and me one more time, and then I quit match. So yep. So that's how it ends. That is totally how it ends. Unbelievable. So the AEW Women's Tag Team Champions, who you pick as the champs? Who knows? We'll see what happens when this tournament starts. I wouldn't be surprised if it starts almost immediately. So that is all the time we have on this episode, 2,560 of Eric Lima Shenanigans 1977. AEW Dynamite for September 24, 2025 Event Center. Fallout from All Out, folks. And the Red Sox did win another game against Toronto. And if it's doable, 4 games left. If the Red Sox can win the rest of the 4 games, or Toronto and New York fail to win more games, Red Sox could possibly be the AL East champions. But the magic number to make the playoffs is 2 left. We'll see what happens in tomorrow's game against Toronto, the finale against Toronto. I can't believe they beat the Blue Jays twice. I thought the Blue Jays would walk all over the Red Sox. I mean, clicking at the right time. And what time it was, you had Garrett Crochet going 250 strikeouts. Who knows what's going to happen? But after the Blue Jays, the Red Sox got one more test to do, and that is Detroit at Fenway. We'll see what happens there. So thank you for tuning in to this episode. I will see you on the next episode tomorrow. We'll play some Pressure Luck. We also got TNA. And also Rant and Rave and Jordy Scow's return from his vacation. He's in charge as Brandon's got to do his PA thing. So join Jordy, myself, and William and Michael. So I will see you guys later. Guys, have a wonderful day. Until next episode comes rolling around. Mr. Announcer, take us home.
That is all for today's episode of the show. This is Mr. Announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E and do it for Bob Saget production and in association with a Raving Bull for 3000 Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. See you later on the next episode of the show. Goodbye for now.